Well, I'm not going to tell you too much about the story because that would spoil it for everybody who watches this or hopefully sees the film as well. But suffice to say, it is one of my grandmother's, well, it was one of her favourite stories. It's also very important because, as everybody knows, there is quite a lot of Agatha Christie film and television going around at any one time, but Crooked House has never been filmed before, and it is a very important story. I think one of her many works of genius, but up there in the top 6 stories, and therefore a visual representation of it is very important, I think, to Agatha Christie history, and ought to be for all the many millions of Agatha Christie fans out there. I think she was very pleased. She had the basic idea, and she postponed writing it for quite a long time until she felt she was able to cope with it. And then she wrote it, and I think she was quite pleased with the sort of construction and the way that she had written it, and its originality, and some of its ingredients, which I'm afraid I'm not able to reveal, but it'll be obvious when you've seen it. It is a very, very unusual story. It hasn't got Poirot, it hasn't got Marple. The solution is, although obvious, there is a sort of, in inverted commas, a detective involved, but it's got a lot of action, a lot of things happen. There are a lot of very interesting characters, and I think it's a brilliant detective story. And unlike sort of many of my grandmother's other films like Orient Express and Death on the Nile and some of the famous Miss Marples, it is virtually unknown.
毒殺された華麗なる一族の大富豪。
What can I do for you, Sophia?
My grandfather was murdered.
残されたのは巨額の遺産と心のねじれた9人の家族。
The killer may still be in the house. Are you Sophia's sleuth?
I'd like to strangle that woman with my bare hands.
You see, I killed her.
This is what happens when the person you love the most is actually the same person that you hate the most.
But it still could be me.
ねじれの裏に隠された嘘と秘密。
Motive, greed, jealousy, anger, love, take your pick.
That description fits every member of this family.
アガサ・クリスティー、ねじれた家。嘘をついているのは誰？